XS is for Hymas t-shirts, extra small. These are actually mediums, dude. It's not my fault. Jaime, how many times do you have to say your name? What do you mean?
I'm Jaime Rivera.
I'm Jaime Rivera. I'm Jaime Rivera. I'm Jaime Rivera. I'm Jaime Rivera.
I'm Jaime Rivera.
I think Thanos could send the half of the universe which he destroyed inside of the Pixel 3 XL's notch. Oh man, alright, fine, that was a good one. That's right, it's that time of the week. I am Jaime Rivera, this is Pocket Now. Your comments one more time, the Pocketnow Daily Recap for last week. On Monday, the topic was the final name of the next generation iPhones. We heard that it was iPhone XS. I asked you what you thought about the names. We had 705 comments. I'm still waiting for the iPhone 7S, and you will continue waiting because, oh my God, out of all iPhones, I think that was the worst one, and it had everything to do with the modems and how bad that battery performed. It should be called the iPhone XS ThinQ XL Plus. Oh my God, bring back the times of 2013 when you had the Galaxy S Edge Touch 4G. Anyways, iPhone Pro, iPhone Plus. Okay, I think that definitely the rumors are going to be pointed more to iPhone in the case of the most affordable one. iPhone X or iPhone XS for the other one. I doubt that the Max name is going to happen, but that's another segment. Then on Tuesday, the topic was one more time the iPhone because that's the hottest news lately as we get closer to the event. We had 355 comments about Apple's strategy and specs and color options. I think people will still buy iPhone no matter which strategy Apple applies. I wish that weren't true, but believe it or not, I know people, particularly the person that's editing this video, I know people that could have a better phone in their hands and they will still drift to an iPhone. Cue in the joke making fun of me back. I'm Jaime Rivera. Apple should look to address practical problems like better battery life and a reasonable price tag instead of hiking prices or features they think might be new. See, here's the thing, it's not that they think that features might be new, I just have to acknowledge that Apple is really good about getting things right. I'm not saying they always get things right, but when they do, God, like, they make a lot of OEMs look bad. And I have to say, in this particular business, it doesn't really matter who's first most cases, it matters who does it better. And hey, I mean, that's the thing, but I do agree with you in the case of the price tags. Apple will continue to do the same thing year after year. People will still line up year after year. It's insanity. I do have to agree with this. There are so many great phones in 2018. I had a recent comparison between the Note 9 and the iPhone 10 just to show the differences in data speeds. Right here in my apartment, I have issues getting Wi-Fi on the iPhone from the router that's in the living room. I don't have those problems with any device with the Qualcomm Snapdragon 845, and so clearly Apple really needs to step their game up. Or I should just buy a better router. I think it's the second one. And yes, one more time, the news on Wednesday. I really need to work on these scripts. We had 628 comments about the rumors that Apple will outsell its record-breaking iPhone 6 sales, and I asked you what you thought about that. Apple don't even know the market right now. With so many options, they won't have record sales. Oh man, I wish you were right. Again, there are superior phones out there, but for some reason, people like iPhones. And, don't get me wrong, I don't like the iPhone X's photography, I don't like the iPhone X's design, but I do like iOS a lot. I rely on it heavily for a lot of what I do. The fact that there are accessories like this that allow this microphone to sound the way it does for the price and using the iPad as it is, this is the reason why Apple products are so popular. It's not just a fan-based thing, it's about how much is built around iPhones, from cases to accessories to apps. Every iPhone has the possibility to break sales records. Why is this any different? The fact that for the longest time after the iPhone 6, Apple hasn't broken any records. So that's the reason why they're making a big deal out of it. For those of you that don't remember, Apple's valuation actually even slumped after that, even if they're now worth $1 trillion. I really don't think that they will sell more over 3 models. I do, however, think that the larger model will make up for the majority of their sales. Apple doesn't build a phone for every demographic, and this is the most interesting part. This is like saying that Lexus makes better cars and therefore people will go crazy and buy Lexus instead of Toyota when they're pretty much mostly the same car. Thing about it is, for some reason, in the smartphone business, we're not talking about $30,000, $40,000 cars. We're talking about a price difference of $300 to $400 between one phone and the other. It's not an arm and a leg for certain markets like the United States. It's very different in other countries, so at least in the United States, that's the reason why people would rather, subsidize the iPhone and, still buy it. So I think that's the reason why it's so easy for these phones to sell. Then on Thursday, we were very surprised. Sony announced their Xperia XZ3 at IFA. We weren't really expecting any sort of a launch because they had just launched the XZ2. I had barely just reviewed it. They had the XZ2 Premium. I asked you what you thought about the strategy, and we had 254 comments. Great that we have news about Sony. Sony deserves more attention from YouTubers. All right, let me tell you a fun story. It's not us that don't want to talk about Sony. The problem is the way they've handled PR over the last couple of years, where they've been changing agencies, and it's not until now that their agency is really awesome, that we have great communication with them, and that we're now accessing review devices free. If you didn't know this, in the past we would have to buy the phones to get the reviews, and the problem was that these weren't really popular phones, sadly, for the US market, which is our biggest market. And so does it really make sense to invest in Sony phones to make reviews if they're not going to get much attention? So it's not just us, dude. XZ3 is what the XZ2 should have been. That apart, their design is unique, theirs, and that's a good thing in my opinion. All right, so yes and no. The design looks like if the Google Pixel 2 XL and the Xperia XZ2 had a baby, but then they fixed the ergonomics of the buttons, and to be fully honest with you, after playing with it at IFA, I actually like this phone. I really like it. I can't wait to try it out whenever they send us the review unit because, again, our relationship is back to the way it should have been. Finally, Sony heard all of our complaints. The Sony Xperia XZ3 is here, especially without a notch and a curved screen. Oh man, all right. I think it's only a matter of time before that continues extending itself. The bezels on that phone are significant. And I don't think that's better than having a notch, honestly. How are larger bezels and a smaller screen better than a larger screen with a notch, dude? And finally, on Friday, Apple announced their event for September 12th. I asked you what you thought that the company was going to bring. We had 323 comments. We're expecting everything but the kitchen sink. Plot twist, Apple announces the Apple Sink. Like seriously, could you imagine that?
An aluminium body and formed sheet of glass describe a singular shape. One made with very few, very precisely engineered parts. Our obsession remains to continuously simplify and improve.
There's no way Apple reveals 3 phones, a watch, Macs, new iPad in one event, along with highlighting iOS 12. You're going to be disappointed if these are your hopes. It wouldn't be the first time the company does it, and I believe that it's possible, though it does make sense that the company could have an event later. For those of you that don't remember, the September event historically was their music event, and then eventually in October we had another event. So it could just be that we only get iPhones and the Apple Watch on this event, which has been that, and then eventually we get the rest of the hardware. Possible. Gather round Apple Watch, maybe? Oh, that would be so cool. If you weren't at the podcast yesterday, please do so. We talked significantly about smartwatches. I love the Galaxy Watch for its design. I just don't like the software implementation. A lot of things that we're going to discuss in our review, it's not bad, but it could be so much better. And the problem is Apple has proven that the benchmark is the Apple Watch when it comes to software services and the way they interact with the user. Sadly, it's the worst design ever. So if they ever came out with a round Apple Watch that was made of better materials, because aluminum and composite glass, Apple, I'm sorry, is not better than stainless steel. Even if not everything here is stainless steel. Friends, again, thank you so much for watching. If you want your comments to be featured, keep them short, stick to the point, and try to get some thumbs up. It helps us spot them a lot easier. You can also follow us on social media. Subscribe to both our channels, English and Spanish, for more videos like this one. You can follow me on Twitter, Jaime_Rivera, or on Instagram at Jaime Rivera. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like what you saw. I'm Jaime Rivera. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next week.